Hello everyone. This next fly I'm tying is a deer head sculpin, a streamer for trophy freshwater game fish. The hook is a Partridge heavy double Wilson size 2. The thread for this part of the fly is the Semperfli Nano Silk 12/0 black. Start the thread where the head and the body will meet and trim the tag. Wrap a base along the straight part of the hook, whip finish, and move the thread aside. The next thread I'm using is the Semperfli Nano Silk 12/0 white. Start the thread at the same spot as the black and trim the tag. And wrap along the threaded base and bring it back to the start. Prepare a small diameter copper wire, take a section about 10 inches long, double it over and trim the ends even. Secure the wire from underneath the hook with tight wraps along the threaded area and build up the thread. Twist the wire using a shepherd's hook tool and move it aside with the black thread. Next, split the thread and wax both sides. Add the brown Hare's Ear Plus dubbing loosely. Collapse the thread around the dubbing and spread it evenly along the thread. Add the dubbing twister, double over the thread twice, and spin to secure the dubbing. Brush out the dubbing thoroughly. I want the bulk around the twisted thread thinned out as much as possible before I wrap it around the threaded area. Wrap the dubbing forward along the threaded area with tight edge-to-edge wraps. Pulling the fibers back with your fingers after each wrap. Secure by the thread on the bare part of the hook, trim the excess and build up the thread and brush out the dubbing. Next, I'm going to prepare 2 Cree hackles for the main wing. Take the first hackle and place it on top of the hook and measure. I want the length of the hackle about twice the length of the dub body. Remove the excess fibers at the base of the hackle down to the stem so it's even with the end of the dubbing and trim the excess. Peel away the fibers at the bottom of the hackle even with the rear thread and twisted wire. Place both hackles together back to back with the tips even and remove the fibers on the second hackle to match the first one. Keep the hackles together and even, flatten the stems on both hackles. Secure on top of the hook and fold the stems back. Secure, trim the excess. Whip finish. Trim the thread and add head cement to the wrap. Move the twisted copper wire out of the way. Grasp both hackles by the tips firmly. Pull them back over the body, centered. Separate the fibers of the hackle with a bodkin, even with the black thread. Secure with firm wraps in that space while keeping tension on the hackle with your fingers. Whip finish, trim, and add head cement to the wrap. Unwind the wire, brush out the dubbing and the hackle fibers. Start the Semperfli Nano Silk 12-aught white, trim the tag and whip finish. Wrap the twisted wire around the dubbing and the hackle fibers using a bodkin to separate both fibers. Have the ribs evenly spaced and angled. Secure the wire from underneath the hook with secure wraps going forward. Then fold the wire back. Secure, trim the excess, and whip finish. Brush and pick out any trapped fibers in the dubbing and hackle. Next, prepare a section of natural fin raccoon fur strip. Split the thread, wax both sides. Place the strip between the thread and trim away the hide part, flush with the thread. Spread out the fur along the thread. Thread tension is the key to this step. Add the dubbing twister, double over the thread, and spin to secure the fur. Brush out the fur thoroughly to free any trapped fibers. Wrap the fur with tight edge-to-edge wraps in front of the wing for the collar. Secure, trim the excess, build up the thread, and whip finish. Brush out the fur to free any trapped fibers. Next, add the brown olive ice dub shimmer fringe. Trim a sparse section and secure it on each side of the collar. Trim the excess and build up the thread on a taper. Prepare 2 fine strands of select Cree hackles. The length is about 3/4 of the length of the main wing. Strip the fibers from the stems at that point and trim the excess. Secure the hackles by the stem on each side of the wing, left and right. Prepare the partridge body feathers for the gills. Remove the waist part of the first feather and match it on the wing. The length of the gills is about half the length of the dub body. Match the second feather with the prepared feather so they're both even. Flatten the stems and secure the feathers on each side of the collar. Fold the stems back, secure, and trim the excess. Prepare the dyed orange and yellow rabbit fur. Trim a section with the hide attached. Secure it from underneath the hook with a few wraps. Adjust the length Have the tips even or slightly shorter than the gills. Trim the excess on a taper, build up the thread, and add head cement to the wrap. Take a piece of lead wire and wrap it around the collar, gills, and throat to keep the area clear while spinning the deer hair. Next, take a section of deer hair, stack the hairs so the tips are even. Place the deer hair on the threaded part of the hook with the tips even with the lead wire. I want the even tips short to show the gills and the throat. Wrap 2 soft loops around the deer hair and tighten to flare the hair. Secure with cinch wraps on the same spot. Pull the fibers back with your fingers and secure with tight wraps in front of the hair. Repeat this step to the hook eye using the hair compactor to compress the deer hair. Each clump of deer hair is slightly larger than the diameter of a pencil. Pull the hair back to show the hook eye, build up the thread, whip finish, trim, and add head cement to the wrap. Trim the deer hair with straight and curved scissors. Trim flat on top and bottom with straight scissors. Trim the sides with curved scissors on a taper. Trim around the even tips and touch up any high spots around the head. Trim around the eye of the hook. Remove the lead wire around the gills and collar. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and hit the like button to see more of them.